After his devastating strike, the pink and purple aura from Vikir's blade leaves the spectating students in absolute shock. The arrogant student with the ponytail and his peers stare wide-eyed, stunned by his power. Relieved to be alive, the blonde and short-haired girls cry tears of joy. Nearby, Grenouille clutches his chest, panting and completely bewildered by the impossible feat his classmate achieved. As the beast's blood rains down, Vikir stands with his sword still crackling. The system announces that the level 1 warrior, Vikir, is the first to hunt the S-rank Bloodwater Plantain Lily, promising him a special reward for achieving the impossible. The surviving students murmur in shock. From the ruined walls, they wonder how a level 1 participant defeated an S-rank threat despite the tower's 100-fold stat suppression. Realizing his power in the outside world must be unimaginable. Pointing a trembling finger at Vikir's glowing weapon, one student notices a terrifying detail. The faint glow is unmistakably liquid aura, the mark of a high-tier warrior. He sweats and deduces that Vikir must be at least a graduator, but another student corrects him as Vikir sheathes his twin swords. This student claims Vikir's power proves he is even stronger than a swordmaster, leaving the crowd in disbelief. The students whisper that a swordmaster should not be a regular academy student. On the sidelines, Arthur Gordon Pym's confident look crumbles into a dark expression as the terrified crowd wonders about Vikir's identity. Stressed and silenced by his massive miscalculation, Arthur can only watch and wince at the unfolding reality. Atop a rock, the four-eyed flower fairy guide trembles in frustration. Cursing its luck, the creature grips its face in despair, wondering how its perfect plans went so wrong. The third-floor trial was designed to be a cruel test to break the students' spirits, forcing them to sacrifice one another. The fairy had relied on human selfishness, expecting them to betray each other to survive. It was supposed to expose humanity's darkest nature, but instead, the fairy stares down at Vikir, who has completely shattered its twisted game. As Vikir approaches the base of the rock, the bewildered guide looks down at him, terrified and confused about his true identity. Ignoring the furious fairy, Vikir inspects his loot. He holds up a small bag, and the system confirms it contains the seeds of the Bloodwater Plantain Lily, which is exactly what he needed. He realizes the D-rank items he obtained earlier are useful here. The system notes that his small hand hoe is perfect for digging up seeds, and the oil paper pouch provides excellent, moisture-proof storage. Vikir's thoughts are interrupted when a group of students approaches him, saying they have something to tell him. Anticipating a fight, Grenouille steps between them and warns the classmates not to mob Vikir, demanding to know what they want. Vikir remains calm while Decarabia cynically predicts that the students will project their anger onto him, ungratefully demanding to know why he did not save them sooner. Instead, Vikir is caught off guard when the students earnestly thank him for saving their lives. They admit that without him, they would have been digested by the beast or killed each other. In awe, they ask if he is indeed a swordmaster and wish to become as strong as him. Vikir stares at his classmates' earnest faces, while Decarabia remarks with surprise that humans actually possess a conscience after all. The moment is interrupted when the Flower Fairy Guide announces 67 survivors, sarcastically commenting on how they survived without putting in any effort. Vikir looks up at the rock, addressing the four-eyed Flower Fairy Guide by her name, Venus. He bluntly tells her she crossed the line, recalling how she interfered during his fight by yelling at the beast to close its mouth and hide its weak point to ensure his death. Nervous, Venus stammers and asks what a human can do, claiming she only followed the rules. Gaining false courage, she warns Vikir that hurting her will prevent him from progressing to the next floor. Unfazed, Vikir glares at Venus with intense bloodlust and orders her to hand over his reward immediately if she wants to avoid a horrific experience, making the fairy squeak in terror. Cowed, Venus nervously smiles and announces a generous reward. With a wave of her hand, 3 massive sacks appear, filled with hundreds of stat-boosting candies. The students stare in shock at the mountain of loot, amazed by the massive reward. They notice glowing orbs in the pile, which the system identifies as rare gold candies. A single gold candy instantly increases the user's level by 1 or exchanges for 300 regular candies. While others watch with jealousy, Vikir stands before his haul and calculates his 10 gold candies. He plans to exchange them for stat candies, noting this is a very generous reward for a level 1 participant. However, his focus shifts to his hand, barely able to believe his luck in obtaining a specific item so early in the game. Grenouille is confused to see Vikir smiling, noting that it is not because of the valuable gold candies. He wonders aloud what could make Vikir so pleased. Vikir holds up a strange pink bug. The system identifies it as an S-rank artifact called the Conversion Bug, which converts 100 candies of the same color into a random different color. Vikir looks at the pink bug in surprise. He knows from his past life that this S-rank item is the rarest and most valuable artifact mentioned by the tower's survivors. He recalls that in his past life, Camus Morgue obtained this conversion bug after defeating a massive skeletal beast on the lowest floor of the Tree of Falling. Camus fed all her candies to the parasite in a desperate bid to increase her mana resistance, the final hidden stat she needed. Her gamble paid off, allowing her to survive a violent internal mana rampage and withstand what should have been a paralyzing backlash. In the present, Vikir looks at the artifact, amazed to acquire such a powerful item as early as the 3rd floor. Since his strategy requires hoarding candies, he cannot host the bug himself. Instead, he entrusts the parasite to the little blue spider on his collar, calling her baby Madam. As the spider happily accepts the bug, Vikir explains that when she eats a candy, the magical effects will be shared, allowing her to grow stronger alongside it. Vikir activates his Divine Immortal's ring to open a dark portal and store his candies. Granuil watches in disbelief, wondering if all swordmasters possess dimensional magic. Suddenly, Arthur steps forward and calls out to Vikir, smilingly noting that he always knew Vikir was hiding a secret. He approaches Vikir and asks about the unique swordsmanship he displayed during the boss fight. With a sinister grin, Arthur identifies Vikir's combat style as the infamous Baskerville technique. The surrounding students whisper in shock, noting that the Baskerville technique is the guarded style of the Ironblood sword family, and wondering how an outsider could learn it. Refusing to believe the implication, Granui grabs Arthur's shoulder and yells that his claim makes no sense and must be a mistake. Granui shoves Arthur back, desperately arguing his point. Ignoring the protest, Arthur calmly recounts a memory from his childhood. He explains that as a young boy lost in a dark forest, he witnessed a group of people hunting demonic beasts. He describes the hunters using a distinct red sword energy that formed beast-like fangs to strike down prey, a technique unique to the Baskerville family. Smiling arrogantly, Arthur adds that there was another obvious clue he overlooked because the name was so common. He reminds the students of news that swept the Empire years ago from the Red Fang Mountains, announcing the return of a famous Baskerville hero presumed dead. As Granui listens in confusion, Arthur smoothly connects the pieces, pointing out the coincidence of a student named Vikir possessing the exclusive Baskerville swordsmanship. With absolute certainty, Arthur confronts him directly, declaring that his true identity is the legendary hero, Vikir van Baskerville, and challenges him to deny it.